What's up, everybody? Alright, so I did change the layout in here a bit. I put the Fusion stuff up top because I realized it was being covered up by comments on the bottom, and I'm sure you all love to see my beautiful face, but you're probably more here for Fusion. So, yeah, this is a new-ish model. It's just going to kind of be a one-off, a little passion project inspired by Jerry Garcia's Wolf guitar. So, I'm going to be working on this. Last time I was here, in case you missed it, that whole live stream is up on YouTube, so you can check that out. It's under the Sterner Guitars account. Oh, thanks. I hope I look good with font face. But yeah, we were sketching things out. I went over the basics of just like how I go about designing guitar bodies. So I also talked about how I inserted this picture, how I got some kind of reference scaling stuff, and then turning that into a general kind of like some kind of three-dimensional form, like this body that we're gonna start working from. It's pretty rough, but we're gonna leave it there for now. And I'm going to shift and start talking about actual like fretboard stuff, because of all the geometry within a guitar, the fretboard is really like incredibly crucial. Because if your frets are in the wrong space, it's not going to play right, notes are going to be off, and you might as well throw the whole thing in the trash or just break out your drill press and like move your bridge around until it works. But hopefully we wanted to do that. That's why we're doing this all in Fusion. So I'm going to shut up at least about that and start working on this fretboard. Now, the first thing I'm going to do actually is make a new sketch. So last time we did these sketches, we talked about scale length. This guy's going to be a really important feature when we're figuring out the fretboard. So I'm going to have that one on with the rough body sketch, all that stuff. I don't really need on for now. But to make a new sketch, I go up here and I'm going to click bam, because I'm just going to have this on the same plane as the top of the body. I already know that this is going to have like an angled neck when this thing is all said and done, so it will move around. I'm going to have to like eventually raise the fretboard, but for now, just that it's on the same plane as the top of the body is fine. We can move like objects and assets once they're already made. But, alright, so I have this sketch done. I'm going to actually put you guys onto the, like, best tool. Whoever made this, you are, like, a real one. If you aren't familiar with this thing, oh, no, whoa, it's scaled up way too much. Alright, FretFind 2D. Alright, so this website is, like, actually incredible. There are different ways to do fretboards, but like within Fusion, this is like an incredibly powerful tool. So in the past, when I was doing this stuff all by hand, like I had a jig that I would like use on my table saw, and like I'd have to actually cut each individual fret slot. And the jig was really essential because it had like these indexing pins and it makes sure all your slots are in the right spot. But since we're all working like on the computer and in CAD, this program will allow you to set those like the parameters of your fretboard and all these different settings, and it will just make a model for you, which we can then download as a DXF, which is a sketch that we can just bring right into Fusion. So instead of me having to like sit here with a calculator, like I'm not great at math, but like instead of having to figure out like, oh, okay, like, whatever the equation is to figure out your proper scale lengths and stuff, like the distance between the nut and the first fret and the first fret and the second fret and all that stuff, I can just change these parameters. So I've already put in a couple of things, but just to show you how this program works, it's got all these different settings. Also, if you don't know what they mean, they got these nice little question marks, and it has like a nice little description. But I know this guitar is going to have a 25.5-inch scale length, so I've got that kind of plugged in here. I have the nut width, but say for instance I wanted to like, make something extreme, right? So instead of the fretboard overhang be 0.093 or whatever, what if I change it to like 7 inches? You can see the model will like immediately adjust for that. This would be a pretty crazy guitar to make, but I'm gonna switch that back. Also, this thing will allow you to do fan fret stuff, like that's what I use it for specifically, because like those equations get really complex. This is a pretty straightforward fretboard. Oh, and if you're like really nerdy, it's got all these things. I don't even know what half this stuff is. But anyway, FretFind 2D, absolutely like overpowered tool. But I'm going to go to DXF. I'm going to hit download. I already downloaded this earlier. So I have that. I am going to then go into here. I'm back to my sketch. I'm going to go to Insert DXF right here, baby. So I already have my sketch plane selected. I'm going to go to Select File. Select from my computer. I should have this in like Downloads. Let's go. All right, bam. I'm going to click that. And look, it's already inserted my entire fretboard in here. That's so nice of them. I'm going to hit OK. All right. Oh, wait, what? Why is this back up? All right. So now I have this kind of geometry in here, and I need to get it lined up with my center line so I can make sure it's going to, like, you know, everything's going to fall where it needs to relative to, like, position of the bridge and stuff on the body. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to turn this body off, and I'm going to move all this stuff. First, I'm going to start by rotating it 90 degrees. Oh, my cat's here, by the way. That's fine. And then, it is a lot of geometry, so like depending on how fast your computer is, it can take a while. I'm just going to move this to the side. Actually, you know what? I got to leave that there for now. I'm going to project, so I'm going to hit P on my keyboard, project that point that's at the end of my scale length sketch, so I have it. Alright, all that selected. Now I'm going to select all this again. No. Move, sketch objects. Alright, I got my fretboard all selected. I'm going to find the center of my fretboard, which is going to be right here. Point to point. Select that. Wait, what? No, I did not select that. Alright, hold on. I got ahead of myself. I'm going to have to fix this. Cancel. I got to make a point for it because it's not letting me do that line segment. Alright, fine. So sometimes it'll want to be annoying like that, in which case I'm going to hit L to make a line. From one end of my fretboard to the other. Bam. Okay. So now that should allow me to place a little midpoint thing right here, there. Whenever you see in the program this little like X in a triangle, that means it's the midpoint. So I'm going to go to Create, Point, wait until I find that, bam. Alright, so now I know that this point is dead center of the nut spacing. And I hit M to move this for a third time. Here we go. This is going to be it. I can feel it, gang. I'm going to zoom in. Point to point. So my origin point is that middle point I just placed. And my goal is going to be right here. Hey, look at that. It all lines up perfect. I'm going to hit OK. Alright. So, this geometry is going to work for my fretboard. Now, we're going to be deviating a little bit from the actual, like, photograph in here. Some of that, you know, it's going to get distorted by like the lens of when they took the photograph of the guitar. So I'm just kind of using that for a general guide. But most of what I'm going to have to start basing my geometry off is now like my created bodies. So I'm going to turn this back on, and I'm actually going to turn the canvas off. All right, cool. So if this is my body, this is going to have to be the fretboard, which is great. But you'll notice, even though the the sketch that gets exported by FretFind is like very detailed, it's in these like weird little segment things, and I don't need all of that. It's going to be hard to extrude that. I got to select a lot of things. So I'm going to actually make another sketch. Sorry, my cat's playing with stuff. Before I do that, I'm just going to name this FretFind fretboard. Cool. Alright. I'm going to hit Finish Sketch, and I'm going to use Project to make like a much simpler version of this fretboard. Alright. So again, I don't need all of this just yet, but what I do need are these kind of corners. So I'm going to hit P to project. I'm going to project 1, project 2. Let me turn this body off. Let's see. I can always shorten it, so I'll project those 2, 3, 4. Okay. Oh, nope, I projected the wrong one. Dang it. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Alright, sick. Okay, so now I'm going to hit L for line, and I can just go in here, and I'm going to connect these dots. And then I'm going to turn that fret find sketch off. Okay, so this is the actual parameter of like the longest my fretboard could be. I'm going to cut it a little shorter, but I know that based off of this fret find sketch, I have something that will basically, like, you know, be able to house all of the fret measurements and information that's necessary. Oh yeah, Rousseau's. I swung by there today. There's another one I just dropped off this morning. Yeah, go check out Rousseau's music if you're in Philly. They got some cool guitars there. Well, yeah, where was I? All right, bodies, bam. All right, yeah, this is like a crazy long fretboard. I'm not going to be using all of that. Let's turn the canvas back on. All right. I don't know if I'm going to keep it. You know, I like how Wolf has this, like, you know, nice kind of like, woo, like, kind of scroll type angle. But as I talked about in the last video, I'm always obsessed with kind of like repeating geometry. So I'm going to probably cut it off at the same spot, but I'm actually going to use this line here, and I'm going to actually like drag that down a bit. So it kind of like vibes with the rest of it. I'm going to project that. Control C, Control V. I'm going to drag this guy down just so it kind of like meets up. Let's see if I want to get all those frets in there. Well, actually, maybe I should turn this on so I can see where my last frets fall. Oh, I got an idea. All right, hold on. Okay, make it a little longer. All right, cool. Okay, and then Control C, Control V, and then I'm going to rotate it along my center line. If you remember the last time I used this to get this kind of like lower portion of the body. Oh no, I selected it on the wrong thing. Hold on. Oh guys, sometimes when you're like me, you're just bad. I gotta fix this. All right. I'm just gonna make an extra line here. Control V. I'm gonna rotate, and I'm gonna use this as the axis now. And then it should point. There we go. 180 degrees. Cool. All right, and that's gonna be the bottom. So this kind of intersection of these two lines mirrors these two angles down here. I like that. That seems to visually make sense to me. I'm going to trim off all this extra stuff. Oh yeah, I forgot I pasted that a bunch of times. Okay. Ow, sorry, my cat's like digging into my leg right now. Alright. And I guess I don't need this projection anymore. So I'm going to select this guy, delete. Okay, cool. So now with all this off, I know that was a lot of like visual stuff going on at once, but you can see when I hover over this, it's going to outline that perimeter of the fretboard. I think that's going to work for what I want to actually, you know, turn this into. So I'm going to hit finish sketch on this. Sorry, my cat's like trying to climb on the keyboard. I'm going to hit Q, or this is the shortcut for press pull. You can also use extrude or whatever. But I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to extrude this. Oh, my body's turned off. I'm going to extrude this 0.25 inches, and I'm going to change the operation from join to new body. If I didn't, it would just connect the fretboard right to the body because they're on the same sketch plane. This will make them two separate entities completely. Then I'm going to hit OK. Great. So now I have a kind of like model for my fretboard that I can kind of work with. The next step for me to actually do is going to be, I guess let's model the frets because that would make the most sense. Now, the way I like to do fret slots is different. Some people will, in this program, they'll just make a sketch that's on top of the fretboard as a path, and then they'll use like a really fine router bit to just trace that path. I don't like to do that. I like to model my fret slots just because, and this is a really nerdy thing, it will allow me to radius not only the top of the fretboard, but also the bottom of the fret. Which I'll show you how I do. It's a little more time intensive and, you know, a little nerdy, but I think it, you know, helps see frets a little better. Maybe it's just me making stuff up. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to open up an old Fusion. This is for one of my necks, or my fretboards rather. But I will use these older files to just kind of get general measurements of stuff, because I don't remember all this stuff off the top of my head. For instance, I forget how wide I make these slots. I'm going to use the inspect tool. Okay, so alright, I usually make them, I guess, that wide. Another really like feature that doesn't really come up a lot in like the descriptions within Fusion is that if you like pull up the inspect tool and you measure something, you can just click on that and it copies it. It's very nice, very useful. It's like a small thing, but I like it a lot. Anyway, I'm going to make a new sketch, and this is going to be on top of the fretboard, okay, because this is going to be, I'm going to actually model one of the fret slots. Now, I don't have to actually be incredibly precise with this. I can just do L for line. I'm going to paste that width, all right, and I have like this little tiny sectional line here. Go back in, make sure that's 90 degrees, and I'm just going to make it go past the edge of the fretboard, drag it out the other way, Control V, do that side, and then I'm going to close this so it just makes one nice little closed, super skinny rectangle. So I'm going to basically copy and paste this a million times. It's kind of annoying to do, but I find it, you know, works with this method. And I'm going to place them and paste them based off of that fret find sketch. So, you know what? I'm realizing now that putting that on the bottom may have been a bad choice. So I'm going to move that. Yeah. All right. Or you know what? No, I'm just gonna I'll reinsert it. Yeah, I'm gonna reinsert it on top of the fretboard. Alright, insert. Or should I just project it? Sorry, I'm trying to figure this out while I'm doing stuff, which is probably not the smartest move, but, you know, whatever. Oh, it's also a good idea to name your bodies, because this will get confusing just like with sketches. Oh, maybe I can't do it. I gotta finish the sketch. Alright, yeah, let's turn this off. Can I project? Will you let me do this? Is the real question. No? Bro, why are you doing this to me? So what I want to do is basically find a way to get like this center point along all of these frets. I can make a line. That'll take forever. Alright, well, better get to work. I'm going to make a line, project. I'm going to project that center dot. Okay. I'm going to make a line. It's going to go from here, extend all the way down the fretboard, whatever, to there. I'm going to escape that. Go back to my frets. All right, and I'm going to project these lines that intersect with that, because this is going to make it easy for me to later insert points at that intersection, and then I can use those points as a way to place the slots. Yeah, guys, it's gonna get wild and crazy in here. Real CAD hours. All right, working my way down here. I'll turn the body off so I can see a little better. Cool. All right, so I've projected a section of all of those. I'm gonna hit OK. This is incredibly annoying that I have to deal with all of this geometry now, but whatever. All right, then I'm gonna create a point, and if I go over here, I should be able to click and put these points right at those intersections. Now, I gotta click each one of these. It's very fun work. A flying V, I mean, maybe one day. Right now I'm kind of on this thing. I have my own models, and then this is kind of just like a fun little passion project thing, so I don't really anticipate offering this as a regular model. This is just something that like I've kind of wanted to do and kicked around in the back of my head for a while, so I figured I'd stream it. All right, so now we have this whole mess of geometry. I'm gonna turn off this to kind of clean it up a bit so you can see. All right, and now we got this guy. So the last thing I'm gonna do before I copy and paste this a million times is I'm gonna actually make a center line going down this thing. Now, this is important because you want this, like, even though it is a very skinny and narrow rectangle, you really do need to have it centered on the lines in this geometry. If you, say, do like that point-to-point feature to the edge, all of your frets are going to be a little bit off. So I got to place a point that is directly in the center of this rectangle and, like, ultimately what will be in the center of the slot, if that makes sense. If not, just watch me. I'll show you. It's really stupid. I'm going to hit L for line. I'm going to make a little guy that goes and spans the whole thing. Okay. Then I'm going to create a point that's going to be dead center of that line. Why can't I find point? Why am I... There we go. Okay. Okay. Aha. All right. So now I know that this point is dead center of this rectangle. I can now select... Or actually, you know what? I'm going to delete this thing because it's going to make extruding these later a lot easier. So I have that point still there, which is essential. I'm going to select all this stuff. Control-C, Control-V, and that brings up my Move Copy option. So now I'm going to do point to point, and I'm going to click that, and then I'm going to click this one. Boom. All right, awesome, cool. And then I'm going to Control-V, point to point. Now I am sure there is a smarter, faster, better way to do this, but that would require me being a smarter person, and unfortunately that's not in the cards. So I'm just gonna, clickety-clacky here on my keyboard for like way too long and place each of these slots individually. Okay, Control-V, point, bam, bam, okay. It does also get annoying because, like, now I got, like, the further down the neck you go from your original guy, you gotta, like, zoom out, zoom in. You know what? I'm just gonna, to save myself some time, I'm gonna move this guy over here. Okay. C, Control V, and keep doing this. From that center point to this guy. Okay. A happy MLK Day. I hope everybody, you know, honored Dr. King, did some kind of service, donated to some kind of charity. Alright, we're chugging along, guys. We're getting there. Trust me, this will pay off. Your fretboards are going to be amazing when this is all done. Point to point. Yeah, this is also like, I do hope I'm doing, like, this makes some sense. This program is like incredibly powerful too. Everything I'm showing you is like barely scratching the surface of what it can do. Like, you can do stress testing in this thing, you can do generative design, all of which I have no idea how to do. But I do know how to make very simple drawings in this, and like, honestly, for guitar building, that's like 99% of what you need it for. So that's it's a pretty chill program. Okay. We're almost done. I can see the end. It's in sight. This is honestly, of the whole designing process, like probably the worst part. So if you've made it through this far, kudos to you. All right, we did it. Look at that. All of these fret slots spaced out correctly. Just make sure, again, what I was saying earlier. So this point is that projected center point, and then I want to make sure that that whole slot is like directly in the middle relative to that spot. That makes sure that all the frets, when like, you know, everything's dressed and crowned properly, that whatever apex of the crown is going to be directly like where it needs to be for everything to play in tune. This looks good to me. I'm gonna hit OK. All right. Now I'm gonna finish this sketch. So this sketch is comprised of a million like teeny tiny boxes, kind of like bifurcated by this center line. And we're going to use this to take this fretboard that we've modeled and chop it up into 10 million little pieces. But don't worry, I'm gonna fix it. I'll put it all back together, and you know, I'll make it really nice. So to do that, make sure that your fret is on the whatever top or whatever portion that you made your sketch on. We're going to hit Q, or this is our old friend press pull, but you can also use it for like other cool stuff like cutting things. So similarly to how I had to click on and do point to point for all these little slots before, I'm now going to click on all of them again to select them, and I'm going to actually extrude them through the entirety of the fretboard. Now, if you do not care about radiusing the bottom of your frets, you can just select all of these things and just like, you know, cut them into the fret, like negatively extrude them into the fretboard to the desired depth if you want to do that, but I don't. Also, if anything I'm saying is like confusing, or like if you're bored and you want to leave, I also repost all this stuff on YouTube, and you can watch it at like 2x speed, or just jump around so you don't have to listen to me ramble for a while. Alright, almost done. All right, sick. I have so many rectangles selected. All right, nice. You ready for this? I'm gonna Kobayashi this. Or that's not Kobayashi. I'm gonna slice it. Bam. Okay, so all these red things means it's cutting through. I can extrude them down however far I want to. I'm gonna hit OK. And now you'll notice this bodies thing. Now I got, oh my god, 10 million bodies. This is so many. All right, so we're going to take them, and then we're going to join them all again based on the radius that we want to use for this fretboard, and I'll show you how we're going to do that. So I guess it makes most sense to do it from, let's do it from this side. All right. So up until now, all of the sketches have been done from this like top-down view, where we're looking at like either the body or the fretboard as if we're like kind of standing above it, looking down. But one of the nice things about Fusion is that yes, Nicole, so many bodies. One of the nice things about Fusion is that you can do sketches on like basically any plane that can have like three points can share. And I want to make a sketch that's going to be on the like looking down the barrel of the fretboard right here. So to do that, I'm gonna hit create sketch, and I'm just gonna click on this flat surface. It has to be a flat surface. It's like, otherwise, there are ways you can do sketches on like a cylinder or something, but it's annoying and I don't want to do it. So now I'm kind of looking down the edge of this thing, and you can kind of see as like relative to that grid, the sketch is like directly on that kind of like where the nut would end and the bridge would start, that plane. From here, I'm going to make 2 cylinders. So I don't know off the top of my head what the radius on Wolf is or was or whatever. I just know I personally like 14-inch radius fretboards, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to project this rectangle, and I'm going to go to create, and I'm going to make a circle. And there's a bunch of different options for making circles, but the one I want is the 2 point. Okay. So this will allow me to select 1 point, and then I can drag out a circle. But keep in mind, the dimension you're putting here isn't the radius, it's the diameter. So we gotta like times that by 2. So 14 times 2 is 28. Oh, no, not 287. There we go. All right. So relative to the top of the fret. Oh, hold on. No. Hold on, gang. I botched it. All right, cool. It's on the center. 28. Enter. So now I have this big old radius. That's going to be the radius of the top of the fretboard. Yeah, I'm going to do that first. And then I'm just going to make some arbitrary shapes extending from that. Like bang, bang. Just making sure it goes past like the whole edge of the fretboard. I'm going to hit finish sketch. All right. Now I'm going to create the radius for the top of the fretboard. I'm going to hit Q to extrude. And what I really want is this thing and these little tiny slices. Ready? This is going to blow your mind, man. I take that, and now just like I negatively extruded those slots, I'm going to shear the entire top of the fretboard. I'm going to hit OK, and now the tops of all of those bodies have a nice little radius that matches the radius for my desired, fretboard. Cool. Now I want to get all these frets like back together, because right now they're kind of like, a million different bodies. I want to make it into one unified fretboard, and I want that to match this radius that I've established at the top. So first you need to know the depth of your fret slot. I'm going to check back to this old fretboard model that I had, because I forget. A while ago I used my calipers to measure the fret tangs that I used, but I don't know that measurement off the top of my head. We're going to use our old friend Inspect. Inspector. Okay, cool. 0.10. Okay. I'm going to make another sketch on that same plane. I'm going to make a line dead center, and I'm going to, offset it by that much. And I'm just going to do the same thing I did on my previous sketch. I'm going to go to create, circle. Where is it? There it is. 2-point circle from that point. It's gonna go 28. Hit enter. All right, cool. So now, I probably should have done this from the other side. It's not a huge issue, but it means I'm gonna have to do a little more work later on. Whatever, it's fine. I want to project the edge of this fretboard as well from down here. So I'm going to project these geometries onto that sketch. Okay, let's reorient. Okay, so I can see that edge there. I'm going to do a line that's going to meet up with that radius for the bottom of the fret slots. Connect to those. And then finish sketch. Wait, why is that? Did I not? Oh, I didn't do a bottom. Hold on, I gotta go back into that sketch. I'm stupid. Oh. I gotta connect these points, which I did not do earlier. Now finish sketch. Okay, cool. So now I'm gonna hit Q, and I'm going to extend all of these things all the way through the fretboard. And before, like when I did this, it's like, oh no, it's cutting. But if you remember when I made the fretboard, there are different operations that you can do. Specifically, what I'm going to use is the operation join. So now it's welding all of those things together. It's going further than I want it to, because you can see it's like, you know, all this extra hangover as the fretboard tapers towards the nut. And it's going like a little far back here. Don't worry, I'm going to fix that. I'm just going to hit OK for now. And you'll notice, look, now I'm back to two bodies. All those like disparate ones have now joined back into one fretboard. I am going to then cut things. So one feature that is very nice for stuff like this is the split body tool. So if you don't know what this does, it creates new bodies. You can basically take any 3D model and you can use things like various planes to just like slice it along those things. So I'm going to select that. The body I want to split is the fretboard, so I'm going to select that, and then the splitting tool. So you can select like a whole bunch of different things, but I really just want to have it go along the sides of the fretboard. So I'm going to click this one face, and you'll see it makes this big red circle. So it's like, hey buddy, this is everything I'm going to be cutting off. I'm going to hit OK. And now I have another body down here. This is this little overhang part. I can just turn that off, and now, cool, it's gone. So I'm going to do the same thing. Split body, select the fretboard again. My splitting tool that I want to use is this side. Big red circle, hit OK. And then I'm going to turn that one off. Alright. And then I'm going to go down here. For this guy, I'm just going to chop this guy. I'll make a sketch just on that plane. Project this thing. OK. Q. To extrude it. I'm going to negatively extrude it. Oh, that's annoying. Alright. Never mind. Psych, I lied. I'm not going to do that. Finish sketch. I don't... whatever. I guess I will be using split body then. Yeah, sometimes the program doesn't like what you're trying to do, and it gets moody. Okay. Alright, slice that guy. Then I'm about to do the same thing to this side. Okay, bam, bam. Great. So now you can see I have the whole fretboard. It's all modeled. It's one thing. I can turn it on. I can turn it off. And you can see that the actual fret slots are going to match the radius. To check that, you can just click on these little planes. It'll highlight them. And when I'm looking kind of down the barrel, you can see that that highlighted portion, it matches the arc of the top of the like fretboard radius. So that way when you like actually install frets and you know, you seat them, the depth of the tang relative to the slot will be consistent all the way throughout, which is a nice thing to do. Now, I guess the last thing I'll do for today, I got like, what, 15 more minutes, is talk about doing the edges of these things, because one of the nice things about CNCing fretboards is that you can do blind fret slots. So right now, you can see these fret slots kind of go all the way to the edge. If you're used to making fretboards using like a table saw, you know that you always have like, you know, this little thing peeking out. And that can be kind of annoying. And I also just think it looks really nice when you don't see that. So you can model these slots so that they have like a shallow stopping point or an offset. To do that, I'm going to make a sketch on the bottom of this thing. So I'm going to click Create Sketch. Oh no, what? Why? No, Finish Sketch. Why are you doing this? Alright, Create Sketch on the bottom. Alright, then I'm going to do Offset, and you can click on that bottom profile, and you can like determine how far in you want it, and it will make a new geometry reflecting that. Let's say I want to do, I don't know, a little less. Let's say like 0.5, negative 0.5 inches. Okay, you hit enter. You can then take that geometry and you can hit Q, and it will, like, if you really exaggerate this, it'll just raise that portion. You can join it, so it's now unified. I'm gonna hit OK. Bam. And then, using those same sketches from earlier, where's this top one? No, oh, it was this one. Okay, cool. I'm just gonna trim the top of that again. Probably should have done this earlier, but it doesn't make a huge difference. Oh no, I made that just a little too tall. Oh, well, I guess this is a good idea to talk about this bottom thing down here. You can adjust things in your timeline. You can also go back, so I extruded that a little too much. If I click on here, I can change that. Okay. And then Q, I'm selecting this guy, selecting that guy, selecting that guy. And I'm just gonna radius the top of that. Okay. Turn that sketch off. And now, look at that. My fret slots, they stop a little bit shy when you look at it from the side. It's all nice and clean. You don't see those little like weird, you know, ends that you either have to see like the fret tang sticking out, or you gotta like go back and pack with like CA glue and sawdust. So this is really just how I start all of my fretboards. It's a good, like, you know, position to begin in. Probably not going to go over inlay yet. Let's see how this is working with the rest of the body. So yeah, we're kind of around this point. I guess we can start talking about the neck. I'm not going to be able to get very far into it. Oh, you know what? I'll model the nut. That's something that I like to do. So if we turn the canvas back on, let's take a look at our reference. So the original Wolf kind of like, you know, it just has the nut and then meets up at the headstock, as opposed to like a Fender style guitar. This has that angled headstock. The Fender style guitar usually has like the flat headstock with the little like slot. So I like to just have these kind of be a flat shelf, so that way the nut can like sit on that. I don't have to machine something into the angled portion of the headstock or where things are gonna like change. I just have like a nice flat surface that the nut can just sit on. I don't have to like edit it a ton. So once I have all of this done and all my like, you know, radius, all of my slots, I'll go and make that little shelf. This is a really simple thing. Let's turn this canvas off. Sorry, my cat sees something. I'm gonna make another sketch down here. Alright, so for the nut, I'm gonna make a rectangle. And I know this probably isn't true to whatever Tiger's actual specs, but I want to do it the way that I do things. I like a wider nut. I'm gonna do 1/4 inch from there to. It's not snapping to that point. All right, sorry. It's gonna have to project that. Project. Okay, let's try this a second time. Bam, bam. Okay, cool. 0.25. Alright. And then I'm gonna finish sketch Q. Take that. Front. I'm gonna extrude it up just a little bit. Too much. Let's do 0.5. Okay. So that's now joined. I also like to do this just because I know it's a very small thing, but like if you notice how fretboards will actually like go back and taper, I like to have this kind of ledge actually be like a perfect square, just because when you're fabricating nuts, it's one less thing you have to do. You can kind of like grind it on your belt sander or whatever, and you don't have to like accommodate for that taper. But yeah, I think I'm probably going to leave it there for today. Next time I do this, I'll be going over the neck, the back of the neck, and then the headstock. And once that's all done, we'll get into some finer features, go over modeling stuff. I also will go over like modeling parts in here, specifically like this is the bridge that this thing is going to be using. It's like a hip shot Tunematic style bridge. It's kind of all contained. So I'm going to have to model this because I know it's different than some of the other bridges I've used in the past. But yeah, like I said, if there's anything that you missed in this or anything that I kind of breezed over, I will be posting this on YouTube, so you can go check that out. Again, listen to it at like 2x speed or just jump around. There's no need to listen to me as I do this because I ramble a lot. But yeah, hopefully this was useful. I know I'm ending a little earlier today, but you know, I think that's a good spot to leave it at. So, you know, I'll be back same time next week. Until then, have a good one. Bye.